We are just waiting for the House to start. They don't open until 2 p.m. on Wednesdays. And to be honest, I think they should be open all day, like normal 10 a.m. starting time. 10 a.m.'s even, gracious. I don't understand why they can't work all day on Wednesdays. Like, they get a half day on Wednesday, they get a half day on Friday. But anyway, we are covering committee also after question period. I haven't made the link yet, but I'll make it during question period. We've got the Ethics Committee, and they're still reviewing the Conflict of Interest Act and, kind of grilling Carney on all his massive conflicts of interest. So we'll be watching that. Tomorrow, we've got a lot of committees. We've got one at, 10 a.m.? 11? We've got Gary, the Public Safety Minister, in committee, and he always gets grilled. I don't know how that guy still has a job. We got question period at 2, and then we got more committees after at 3:30. So tomorrow we'll either be watching Ogo, or I believe it's Ogo, right, that we're watching. That's the big one tomorrow. I can't remember. Anyway, there's 2 committees tomorrow, so tomorrow will be a really busy day as well. And yeah, as you can see, we're still just waiting for the House to start up. I don't know if there's anything we can watch in the meantime. Let me check. Nope. There's nothing really to tune into in the meantime. And as you guys know, I do have to have this muted while they sing the anthem. I don't know who, I can't remember who, but somebody has a copyright on the national anthem. And I keep thinking, I'm like, I just want to let this run, let them try and flag it, and then take them to court, because you can't copyright the national anthem. It gets sung at every single sports game, and it's monetized. So I don't know how you can copyright the national anthem. It's a public anthem. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sing it at every single sports game. But yeah, it's just something I haven't bothered to endeavor to do. I can't remember who has the copyright on it, but it's probably Gene Simmons. Anyway, it's not like they're the greatest of singers anyway, but I would like to allow this to play, because it's our freaking anthem. We should be able to play it on YouTube. Anyway. Let the House be open.
Let the doors be opened, que l'on ouvre les portes. Statements by members, déclaration de députés. The Honourable Member for Courtenay Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, forestry is a cornerstone of Canada's economy, supporting more than 200,000 good jobs and sustaining hundreds of rural, northern and Indigenous communities from coast to coast. Yet once again, forestry workers are being left behind by the government's failure to secure a fair softwood lumber agreement. In August, the Prime Minister's promised $1.2 billion in support to respond to Trump's tariffs and duties, which the sector is still waiting for, and just $50 million it's earmarked for workers. That is not a serious plan. It's a token gesture. Almost 50,000 jobs in British Columbia alone are at risk, and entire communities could lose their livelihoods. Forestry families deserve more than press releases and photo ops. They deserve real and urgent action. The government must stand with Canada's forestry workers with urgent investments that protect jobs, strengthen communities, and build a sustainable future.
L'honorable député de
The Honourable Member for Bourassa. This is Women's History Month, and I'd like to pay tribute to Maude Royal, a woman of heart and action who has had a profound impact on Bourassa. For 15 years, she enthusiastically managed the Saint Hubert restaurant on P9, turning it into a true gathering place and symbol of inclusiveness. In 2018, at the height of the construction work on P9, she played a key role in creating the Charleroi and P9 Business Association, an initiative that led to the founding of the Montreal North BIA in 2023. For the past 7 years, she has also served on the board of directors of the Caisse Desjardins Sauvé au Récollet Montreal North, where she is an active member of the Governance and Ethics Committee. Her commitment, vision, and love for her community make her an inspiration to us all. Thank you, Maude Royal, for your leadership in this Women's History Month, for your leadership and dedication to Montreal North and Bourassa.
The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Mr. Speaker, with Halloween almost here, Canadians aren't scared of ghosts. They're scared of the Liberal budget on November the 4th. After 10 years, families live in a haunted house of debt and a nightmare on Main Street. Monster deficits, prices that jump scare at the till, and vampire taxes draining paychecks. Under the Liberals, too many cupboards are bare. Empty bank accounts, empty fridges, empty stomachs. Canadians don't need another pumpkin spice speech or a Franken budget stitched together with buzzwords. They need conservative tax cut treats, not Liberal spending tricks. Conservatives are calling for something simple. Make life affordable. End the hidden taxes that spook the grocery bill, and stop the inflation tax by cutting waste and living within our means. Canadians have had enough of our carnival huckster Prime Minister using scare tactics. On November 4th, we better see a real budget, not s'mores of his candy-coated, stomach-churning fudget. It's time for the Liberals to put Canada first. Or will this budget be another nightmare on Wellington Street?
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Scarborough Centre, Don Valley East.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honour the Toronto International Celebration Church for its remarkable 25th anniversary celebration service. Founded in 2000 by Pastor Peter Youngren alongside current lead pastor Nathan Thurber, it has grown into a beacon of faith, love and community in North York. As a non-denominational evangelical church, it embodies the motto, "We love because God first loved us," welcoming over 1,000 worshippers from more than 70 nations each Sunday. This milestone reflects a quarter century of transformative impact, prayer services, outreach to shelters, youth programs, evangelism training, and specialized ministries like the Champions Club for Special Needs Families. Their global vision through World Impact Ministries has touched over 1,000 nations, fostering cultural harmony and purpose-driven lines right here in Toronto. Congratulations on 25th anniversary and your devotion. May
The honourable member for Mission Mapsquee Abbotsford.
Mr. Speaker, it's Small Business Week, and I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible role small businesses play in our communities and across the country. These entrepreneurs are the driving force behind innovation, job creation, and local economic growth. Small business owners are feeling the pressure, though, from rising costs, excessive red tape, unfair taxes, crime, and ongoing economic uncertainty. Unfortunately, their struggles have been ignored by this Liberal government. In recent years, Conservatives have pushed for overdue carbon rebates and against tax increases on payroll, capital gain, and excise taxes. We are also leading the charge on criminal justice reform so people can operate a business safely. We'll keep doing everything we can to help small businesses grow through red tape reduction and tax cuts. I encourage everyone this week to support a local small business and know on this side of the House we recognize the sacrifices of entrepreneurs make and the taxes they pay to keep Canada going. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de Pontiac.
The honourable member for Pontiac, Kitigan, Zibi. Mr. Speaker, this Women's History Month, I'd like to highlight the outstanding contribution of Rosaleen Dixon, a groundbreaking woman from Pontiac, Kitigan, Zibi.
David, she acquired the Equity, the community newspapers of Shawville that has long served as the voice of our community. Rosaleen went on to serve as its editor-in-chief for more than 30 years. A passionate, a dedicated journalist, Rosaleen gave a voice to those who had none, but whose stories deserve to be told. Rosaleen Dixon incarne la force.
Rosaleen Dixon embodies the strength, independence, and passion of the women who built our country, like those of Pontiac, Kitigan, Zibi, who contribute to inspire us with their strength and leadership.
The honourable member from Newmarket Aurora.
Mr. Speaker, October is Latin American and Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the contributions of over 1 million Canadians of Hispanic and Latino heritage. When you think of Latin America, you think of flavor and music, of food like tacos or a soup that warms the soul on a cold Canadian winter, or music that makes you dance before you even realize it. At Fiesta in the Six, hundreds gather to celebrate those values, a reminder that our stories, though diverse, are bound by hope and love for this country that gave us a home and a future. Gabriel Garcia Marquez once wrote, "People don't stop pursuing dreams because they grow old. They grow old because they stop pursuing dreams." The journey might not be easy, but it is worth it. Keep dreaming, keep building, keep contributing in every field to this beautiful country we now call home. Que viva Latinoamérica y que viva Canadá.
The honourable member for Richmond East Steveston.
Mr. Speaker, my hometown of Richmond, British Columbia, known for having the longest life expectancy in Canada, was recently recognized as Canada's most active city, winning the Participation Community Challenge presented by Novo Nordisk. Participation is a national charity dedicated to promoting physical activity in Canada since 1971. The Most Active City Award came with $100,000 to support physical activity and support in our community. Since the Community Challenge began in 2019, Participation has awarded $1.5 million to communities across Canada. I want to congratulate my community for their commitment to physical activity and all communities that participated in the challenge. A healthier Canada is possible if we make room to move.
The honourable member for New Tecumseh, Gwillimbury.
It's unbelievable. This year marks 100 years since the Holland Marsh was established. A century ago, Professor W.H. Day and a group of hardworking farmers looked over a vast swamp and saw a possibility. With vision and grit, they transformed the black muck into one of the most fertile farming regions in Canada. For 100 years, that vision has fed communities, nourished generations, and sustained livelihoods. Today, farmers steward more than 7,000 acres and grow over 60 crops, including 4 pounds of carrots for every Canadian. Look across the marsh now and you see, well, it's earned the title, the Soup and Salad Bowl of Canada. It's not just canals and fields, but opportunity. It's an honor to represent the marsh growers in Parliament and to have helped make Bill C-280 law. Here's to the Holland Marsh's proud past and the farmers who will carry its legacy forward.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, in tribute to the administrators of the University of Quebec Network and their president, our friend Alexandre Cloutier, they inherited one of the most precious jewels left by the great architects of the Quiet Revolution, foremost among them the dearly departed Guy Rocher, a university institution of teaching and research that has literally placed Quebecers in French among the best educated and most highly trained peoples in barely half a century. The UQ Network, with its Francophone students from all over and its brilliant medical program for the regions of Quebec, has become nothing less than the largest university institution in Quebec, of course, but also in Canada. Among these is the flagship UQAM, whose chancellor, Stéphane Payage, I would like to give a special shout out to, as he recently got an honorary PhD from the Warsaw University School of Management. Thanks to its association with UQAM, they've been offering a program on par with UQAM for 30 years now, proving that Montreal's university education can shine throughout the world. The last person to receive this honor was a certain Volodymyr Zelensky. Stéphane, bravo.
The honourable member for Burlington.
I rise today to recognize Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward and the Halton Elected Representatives Group, which I am honoured to be part of, for launching the Elect Respect campaign. This initiative began as a conversation among women elected at all levels of government in Burlington, where we recognized a shared reality of harassment and threats. From those conversations came a commitment to create a safer, more respectful culture in public life. Elect Respect calls on both elected officials and citizens to pledge respectful and inclusive participation in our democracy. It reminds us that debate should be about ideas, not personal attacks, and that integrity and respect must guide our discourse. Sadly, harassment toward elected officials has been on the rise. In 2023, the RCMP reported more than 2,600 threats, double the year before. Campaigns like Elect Respect matter because they call on all of us to set a better tone for our colleagues, for our constituents, and for the next generation of leaders. I encourage all members of this House to join me in taking
The honourable member for Peace River Westlock.
Promised to make Canada an energy superpower and get projects built at lightning speed. 6 months later, not a single project permit has been granted. Not one. No pipelines, no mines, no energy corridors, just broken promise after broken promise. Now he pushes forward with his emissions cap. That will wipe out $40 billion in investment here in Canada, will drive away investment from across Canada, and cost over 40,000 jobs right here at home. More broken promises. The Prime Minister seems to think that supporting oil and gas starts and ends with cheering for the Edmonton Oilers. Mr. Speaker, Albertans don't need a Prime Minister to come up with a national wish list. We need him to get out of the way. A Conservative government would scrap the emissions cap. We would end Bill C-49 and C-69. We would scrap the industrial carbon tax. Instead of broken promises, we would restore the promise of Canada that hard work would buy an affordable home in a safe neighborhood that you could put food on the table for every Canadian. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Beaches East York.
Mr. Speaker, Joey Band is an incredible story of Canadian innovation and entrepreneurship. Haley Mullins, Ashley Wade, and Sarah Cox are co-founders of the company whose medical device Haley invented and globally patented in 2013. Joey Band is a data-backed device used by hospitals around the world to safely support skin-to-skin contact and bonding for thousands of newborns. Hospitals that use it have reported higher breastfeeding rates, reduced NICU admissions, reduced opioid use, and healthier outcomes for mothers and babies. This ingenuity received an honorable mention in Time Best Inventions of 2025, a timely recognition as this is the WHO's Year of Maternal and Newborn Health, a call for nations to invest in early life innovation. Joey Band is also part of the Femtech Canada network of 200 companies dedicated to advancing women's health technology. When still only 17% of women are international patent holders, Joey Band's success shows us what happens when we support Canadian femtech and women's entrepreneurship. We drive progress in health, equity, and innovation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Excellent. The honourable member for Carleton Trail, Eagle Creek.
In a scathing report from the Auditor General yesterday, it was revealed that complaints against the CRA's contact centres have risen 145% in the last 3 years. Their phone system is nearly 4 times over budget, costing taxpayers more than $190 million, where few get through, and the ones that do receive the wrong information 83% of the time. To add insult to injury, this Liberal government failed to properly review contracts worth tens of millions of dollars before issuing payments. Quote, there was no process documented or followed to ensure the amounts invoiced were accurate. Sound familiar? The Auditor General found the same issue during the Liberals' Arrive scam where, and I quote, federal policies were frequently disregarded. Canadians are stuck with more of the same Liberal incompetence. Conservatives will continue to hold this government to account on their repeated failures to ensure Canadians receive value for their money.
The honourable member for Surrey Newton.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians want safe neighbourhoods where families and businesses can thrive. Last week, I was proud to join my BC colleagues in Surrey for an echo announcement highlighting our government's new steps to combat crime. These measures include tougher bail conditions for repeat violent offenders, stronger penalties for organized retail theft, and additional 1,000 new RCMP personnel across this country. This investment will help ensure that fast-growing communities like Surrey have the resources needed to keep pace with growth and protect public safety. Our government is listening to Canadians, supporting law enforcement, and taking real action to keep our streets and communities safe.
The honourable member for Nanaimo Ladysmith.
Loaves and Fishes Community Food Bank, based in Nanaimo, feeds more than 15,000 families up and down the island who can't afford to keep up with rising grocery prices. They've done everything right, but they're still waiting for the $5 million in federal funding they were promised by this Liberal government. The Prime Minister said he would be judged by the prices Canadians pay at the grocery store, and Canadians are paying the price. Food inflation is double what it should be and beyond what we can afford. Liberal deficits are driving inflation every step of the way. Hidden Liberal taxes on fuel, on packaging, and on production are baked into every grocery bill. Canadians don't see them on their receipts, but they feel them every time they buy food. I'll be watching this next federal budget closely, Mr. Speaker, and I'll be following up with this government to make sure Loaves and Fishes gets every penny.
The honourable member for London West.
Mr. Speaker, on October 15th, I had the pleasure of joining local partners to announce 42 affordable housing units. That's 42 Londoners that will now have a place to call home. Wow. I want to thank the City of London and Indwell for their leadership and continued investment in the well-being of our communities. Build Canada Homes is a national strategy that will get housing built faster, smarter, and more affordably. It will cut red tape, unlock public land, and preserve the existing affordable rentals in the country. It brings every level of government together with mayors, builders, and nonprofits to deliver homes that Canadians can actually afford in every region across this country. This is what leadership looks like, Mr. Speaker. And while the Conservatives continue to talk down on Canada, our government is getting things built, and Canadians can trust that we will get this job done. Thank you.
Oral questions, questions orales. The honourable leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, today I will be meeting with the Prime Minister to discuss the 10th Liberal budget. We, the Conservatives, want an affordable budget so Canadians can have an affordable life. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister did not keep his promise to spend less. He doubled the deficit he inherited, and now the inflation rates are climbing. In fact, all measures are higher than the Bank of Canada target. Will the Prime Minister agree to what we're looking for an affordable life for Canadians? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, it will be an affordable budget and an ambitious one. Affordable for operational expenditures. We will clean up operational expenditures, but we will be investing in Canada. This will be the largest investment in our country, in the history of our country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that is exactly what this Liberal government promised 10 years ago. But what's the result? They doubled the debt, they doubled wait lines at food banks, doubled the cost of housing, and investments have dropped, more so here in Canada than in any other G7 country and in the history of Canada. Today, there are 2 million Canadians who need to turn to food banks. And food inflation is skyrocketing. Will the Prime Minister learn from his lessons, reduce deficits, and eliminate hidden taxes on food? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, as I've just said, this will be a cleaning up of operational expenditures for the first time in a decade in this country. Second, with respect to inflation, it will be the 21st month in a row that the rate of inflation is in keeping with the Bank of Canada's target range. That's 2.4, and the range is 1 to 3.
Mr. Speaker, today the Prime Minister and I will meet to discuss the 10th Liberal budget deficit. Our priority as Conservatives is an affordable budget for an affordable cost of living for the Canadian people. The Prime Minister promised he would spend less, but his deficit spending is 100% more. He promised he'd be judged by the prices at the grocery store. Well, they're now rising at 2 times the Bank of Canada's target, and inflation is now once again out of control. Will the Prime Minister learn from the inflationary, costly failures of the 10 years of Liberal government and accept our plan for an affordable budget for an affordable life?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, This budget will get operational spending under control. It will balance our spending over the next 3 years. But we're not going to stop there. We are going to invest in this country. We're going to have the biggest investment in this country in generations, the largest capital spend in generations, the most ambitious trade diversification in our nation's history. We will do everything to help Canadians get ahead, as they have gotten ahead every single month since I became Prime Minister.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Never bought groceries lately.
Canadians, according to this Prime Minister, have never had it so good. If you're that single mother out there walking down the grocery aisle looking at prices rise before your eyes, if you're that senior choosing between eating and heating, if you're one of the countless Canadians who see that roasted coffee is up 41% since the Prime Minister took office, that nuts and seeds up 15%, that food price inflation is now double the target, or if you're one of those 2 million people that are lined up at food banks every single month, the Prime Minister says you've never had it so good. How is it possible for this Prime Minister to be so costly and so out of touch with reality?
Here, here. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, it's time once again for our economic lesson. Getting ahead means your wages grow faster than inflation. Let's look at the relationship between inflation and deficits. The inflation rate in Canada, the food inflation rate, is the G7 average, and we have the lowest deficit in the G7. What the government is going to do is use that deficit to grow this economy like it's never seen before.
Here, here, well done.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
So the Prime Minister says to that single mother, that small business owner, that senior I just referenced out there, that he needs to give you economic lessons. You are the one out there who are watching prices rise right before...
Hey, from the top.
Yes, the Honourable Member knows to speak through the chair, and there was a lot of noise around that, so if the Honourable Member could just start from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is now lecturing Canadians who are lined up at food banks, telling them that they've never had it so good. That if only they appreciated all the many promises that he's made, promises that he hasn't even begun to keep, that they would then be appreciative of the fact that here we have fresh and frozen beef is up 14%, fresh and frozen cut chucks up 12%, frozen meats up 11%, coffee grains up 40%. Does he believe that people paying these exorbitant prices should be thankful for his economic lessons?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we promised to cut taxes for every Canadian. 22 million Canadians have their taxes cut. We promised to cut taxes on first-time home builders. They've been cut. We promised to cut the carbon tax. It's been cut. You weren't here. It's been cut. It's been cut. And we promised to build this country strong. November 4th, this House will have a choice. Are you with us for those single mothers? Are you with us for those farmers? Are you with us to build this country strong so they can get it?
That's a very good question.
Again, I would remind honourable members, it's through the chair, The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I think he meant to say, are you with us for the bankers and bondholders who will be collecting record interest payments on the newly doubled national debt? The Prime Minister has literally doubled the deficits that he inherited from the Liberal government, deficits that were already exorbitant and out of control. And what do you know? Inflation immediately started to rise. 2 of the 4 measures are outside of the acceptable Bank of Canada range. All 4 measures are above the Bank of Canada's 2% target. The more he spends, the more things cost. Does he acknowledge at least that every dollar he spends comes out of the pockets of hardworking Canadians?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, We are putting more dollars in the pockets of hardworking Canadians because we cut taxes on 22 million Canadians. Mr. Speaker, our focus is putting even more dollars in the pockets of hardworking Canadians. That is why we will have the most ambitious capital investment program this country's ever seen, the most ambitious home building program this country has ever seen, the biggest investment in defense and our industrial capacity that this country has ever seen, and the biggest and most effective climate competitiveness strategy that this country has ever seen.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, Paccard and Sainte-Thérèse de Blainville, producing trucks, just had to let go of 300 employees due to the tariffs, the punishing tariffs from the Trump regime. 3 months after the elections that were supposed to solve all of these issues with respect to tariffs, can the Prime Minister reassure this company and the employees that no matter what, the employees and the company will be protected? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Monsieur le Président,
Mr. Speaker, we are disappointed by the situation at Paccard, at Stellantis and at GM in the automobile sector. We already have the best agreement with the U.S. We have the lowest tariffs for trucks and cars. But we are working with the Americans. We are negotiating with them. We will reassure workers at Paccard. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. If that's the best deal, Mr. Speaker, I would not want to see the worst. And this raises a lot of concerns. People need some degree of certainty. Can the Prime Minister assure us, beyond any reasonable doubt, especially after the loss of these 3% taxes on the web giants, that the cultural exception will be protected in the tariff negotiations and that supply management will be protected entirely, including processing and in all respects, with no compromise? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I can assure this House that we will protect supply management in our negotiations. We will protect Quebec and Canadian culture in the negotiations. That's it. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. That's it, but you have to say completely. First, we should discuss the issue of forestry. Now we have to be beyond the level of protecting it. We need to save it. The forestry industry is subjected to a crisis that is worse than in 2008. Shutdowns, closures, hundreds of jobs have just been lost in Saint-Michel-des-Saints. Can the Prime Minister guarantee that faced with these 45% tariffs, there will be a plan and a complete plan to save the forestry regions in Quebec? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Oh, whoa.
Of forestry. Now we have to be beyond the level of protecting it. We need to save it. The forestry industry is subjected to a crisis that is worse than in 2008. Shutdowns, closures, hundreds of jobs have just been lost in Saint-Michel-des-Saints.
Sorry about that.
Can the Prime Minister guarantee that faced with these 45% tariffs, there will be a plan and a complete plan to save the forestry regions in Quebec? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, there is a plan. There are initiatives. The Industry Minister just announced an initiative that will provide funding for the forestry sector in Quebec and throughout Canada. This is through the Canadian Development Bank. There's also the strategic renewal fund within the forestry sector, and that is a complete plan.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has tried to deny the existence of continued hidden Liberal taxes on groceries. But Canada's leading food price expert, the food professor, Sylvain Charlebois, has said the exact opposite. He says, and I quote, "The industrial carbon tax, the worst part is still there." He was referring to the fact that farmers pay the tax on the steel that goes into their farm equipment, combines, tractors, and bins, and on their fertilizer. Is the Prime Minister really going to expect Canadians who can't pay their grocery bills to believe that the cost of the carbon tax on our farmers does not get passed on at the grocery shelf?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No. He's actually standing up again.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to quote independent research, Mr. Speaker, of the Canadian Climate Institute, which finds that the impact of the industrial carbon tax. Now, wait for it. The net impact of the industrial carbon tax on food prices. It is on average around 0%.
Surprised he actually stood up again.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister expects us to believe government-funded so-called experts paid to push his agenda instead of believing in the obvious fact that when you tax the things that go into making food, you tax all who buy the food. This is a Prime Minister who says he's a great expert. But he told CTV Nova Scotia that Canadians don't use steel anymore. Does he not acknowledge, does he not know that there is steel in farm tractors, farm combines, farm bins, and other farm equipment? And does he not think, for God's sakes, that those costs get passed on to consumers?
Oh, he won't stand up. I knew it.
To end as close to 3 as possible, but it might not be possible today. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The folks are feisty over there today. What I will say is we've been hearing all week, all month, since the beginning of this session about these imaginary taxes. These imaginary taxes in the brain of the Leader of the Opposition, but that no one else has seemed to manage. What I will tell him is that there will be a budget, there will be some numbers and some tables that he can read there where he will not find taxes on food. There is no tax on food. There will never be a tax on food.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, first, we're all disappointed to learn that Liberals think that Canadians who see grocery prices rising at records rates are just imagining things, Mr. Speaker. And further disappointed to see that this Prime Minister cannot stand in his place and address real questions about the cost of groceries for Canadians. It's not just the industrial carbon tax, Mr. Speaker. It is also the government's fuel standard, which, according to their own department, is going to increase the cost of fuel by 17 cents on the farmers and the truckers who bring us our food. Does he really expect consumers to believe that won't?
The Honourable Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And what's not imaginary is that Canadians know who they can trust. In fact, time and again, they've looked at these Conservatives across the aisle vote against their very interests, whether it's things like the school nutrition program, whether it's things like early learning and childcare, which, oh, by the way, Mr. Speaker, has got the average cost of childcare down to $16 a day. Mr. Speaker, these are real savings for real Canadian families, and the only thing imaginary is their own perception.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is really disappointed this Prime Minister refuses to stand up and debate the real cost of his taxes on Canadian food consumers. It's the same thing with the auto sector. He promised that he would negotiate a win. He promised to get a rapid deal. Still no win, still no deal. Elbows gone missing, and so are the jobs. Today we saw Paccard au Québec. Il y a 300.
In Quebec, 300 jobs lost at Paccard.
That it was Ingersoll, the Cami plant, and before that the GM plant in Oshawa. Is the Prime Minister selling out the auto sector in his attempt to back down to the U.S. President?
Yeah. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there's no I in team, but apparently there's an I in Conservative. Team in Conservative. There's a team on these benches. This government is in a position with the best accord with the Americans. We have the lowest tariff on the auto sector.
He's mad that he had to stand up again and actually tell him.
You sound like Ryan Churchill. Yeah, the Right Honourable Prime Minister from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, there's no I in team, but there is an I in Conservative. There is a team, and there is a team in Liberal that can answer these questions. And this is what the Liberal team has accomplished. We have the best deal with the Americans of any country. We have the lowest tariff on our automobiles and trucks of any country, but we are not satisfied. That is why we are negotiating a new accord on steel, on aluminum, on energy, and on auto.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The question was about jobs, and he responds with a spelling bee, Mr. Speaker. This is the guy who's supposed to negotiate a win for us, a guy who said he'd have a deal by July 21st. He's the guy who said he's had his elbows up, and since that time, his elbows have gone missing, Mr. Speaker. The Canadian people need those jobs. He promised he would protect those jobs. Will he stand up today, look the auto workers in Ontario and Quebec in the eye, and tell them why he abandoned them and sold them out?
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-US trade.
Mr. Speaker, our government has no difficulty looking at the hard-working women and men who work in our auto industry and in industries across the country to say that we're fighting for their jobs, we're standing up to the Americans for unjustified tariffs, we're negotiating what we think will be agreements that will be in the best interest of Canadian workers and the Canadian economy. And what we're also doing at the same time, Mr. Speaker, is taking steps to support those very industries in Canada. That's what we were elected to do. That's what the Prime Minister's doing with everybody on this side of the House.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
That was not what this Prime Minister promised. He promised that he would negotiate a win. He promised that he would have a deal by July 21st. Neither of those things happened. He went to the auto sector and told the workers that not only would he protect their jobs, but there would be an all-in-Canada supply chain that is being dismantled right before our eyes. And it's not just his trade negotiating failures, it's his EV mandate, which has slammed the brakes on any investment in auto manufacturing in this country. If the Prime Minister take personal responsibility for this and announce today an end to the EV mandate so we can get our workers back to jobs.
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
When it comes to the auto workers, they know that we have their back and that we will fight for every single job in this country in the auto sector. You know why? Because the Canadian automakers and the Canadian auto workers are actually the best in the world. And therefore, we will make sure that Stellantis is held to account. We are meeting with GM tomorrow in Ottawa, bringing back a model into the plant in Ingersoll, and we will be there also for the employees at Paccard and Sainte-Thérèse. Thank you.
Okay, what about Gould?
Okay, so we have, I think.
Okay. Excuse me.
Wait, come on. Get it together, man.
L'honorable député.
The honourable member.
Wait. Okay, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's failures and capitulations are not just vis-a-vis the United States. He promised he would stand up for Western Canadian farmers, but canola tariffs have now more than doubled. The Prime Minister, in response to this, has given the communist regime in China the billion-dollar taxpayer-funded loans so that we can buy Chinese-made ships. And now he's announced that he's further conceded by removing tariffs on Chinese-made steel. Why is it that in addition to selling out the auto workers, he sold out our farmers and rewarded foreign dictatorships that target them with tariffs?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our new government was elected to expand and diversify over international trade with reliable partners. We are in a volatile global economy. We are defending our trade interests. We are expanding into new markets, and we are working alongside our farmers in every aspect. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Abitibi-Témiscamingue. Mr. Speaker, service at the Canada Revenue Agency is worse than ever. Yesterday, the Auditor General confirmed that 8 years after our office issued a damning report on services at the agency, the situation has not improved. It has worsened. Only 5% of callers were able to speak to an agent within the 15-minute service standard. 5%. The Liberals can't say they were unaware because the Auditor General warned them of this as early as 2017, and they did nothing about it. After 8 years of inaction, when will the Liberals take responsibility? People are tired of waiting. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're taking action, Mr. Speaker. Already the Minister of Finance ordered the CRA, demanded that the CIA, the Canada Revenue Agency, look at the work that it is doing and be in a position to respond to the needs. These are very important measures. The Honourable Member from Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, things are not improving at the Canada Revenue Agency. Yesterday, the Auditor General confirmed that they're not even answering the phone, but it gets worse. The Auditor General revealed that if you do manage to get through to the agency, the chances of getting the right answers to your questions are 17%. 17%, that means you have as much chance of getting a good answer from the CRA as you do of getting an answer in French from the Prime Minister. When is the Minister going to solve this fiasco? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, we did not wait for the Auditor General's report to take action. We sent clear instructions to the CRA so that it would change its way of doing business to... What a show. Everyone's talking over... You feel as though you're in a daycare over here. So we are taking action, Mr. Speaker. We're going to improve services at the CRA. The Honourable Member from Montmorency-Charlevoix. Mr. Speaker, in Quebec, rents have risen by almost 10%, twice the Canadian average, when we know that Canadians spend about 50% of their income to house themselves and feed themselves. This is concerning. In the meantime, the Liberal government is continuing to feed these inflationary costs for groceries, gas, housing. After 10 years of deficits and broken promises, families in Montmorency-Charlevoix and in Quebec can't take anymore. When will the Prime Minister take control of public finances and make life affordable for Canadians? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to inform the House that inflation in Canada is under control, 2.4%, Mr. Speaker. The target range is between 1 and 3 at the Bank of Canada. We are at 2.4%, 21 months. It's been like that now. Second, Mr. Speaker, there is no relationship between the government deficits and inflation. Inflation is a global event, Mr. Speaker. COVID, war in Ukraine, increased cost of gas. Does that mean anything to you?
encore une fois, on ne s'adresse pas directement au président.
We would ask you to speak through the Speaker. The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Mr. Speaker, in Montmorency-Charlevoix, children, seniors, and business owners just can't make ends meet. Economists are saying this is a recession. Cost of housing has increased, an increase of 10% in Quebec, whereas the Liberal costs are causing SMEs to be struggling. What they promised was to help the middle class, but they've actually done the very opposite. When will the deficit, not the cost of the deficit, no longer be borne by these families? When will they do something about these irresponsible expenditures? The Honourable Minister, in light of the exchanges in this question period, it is clear that economists are actually on this side of the House, not on that side. Now, when it comes time to talk about families in Montmorency-Charlevoix, what does he have to say to them when he voted against the child care benefit that helps thousands of them, when he voted against the dental care plan, or the Leader of the Opposition doesn't even think it exists? That's 6 million Canadians who have access to this. We have no lectures to hear from them when it comes time to help Canadian families. That's what we do on a daily basis.
The Honourable Member for Terranova, the Peninsulas.
Mr. Speaker, when this Liberal government creates deficits by spending more than what they receive in taxes, that creates inflation, costing Canadians more at the grocery store, more at the gas station, and more everywhere else. New inflation data confirms Canadians are being crushed by these Liberal deficits. All three core inflation measures are alarming. In just the last year, grocery inflation is up 4% and rent inflation is up by nearly 5%. When will these Liberals get the inflationary deficits under control to make life more affordable for Canadians instead of trying to outspend Justin Trudeau?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, our government is focused on making the investments that are going to help Canadians get ahead, whether it's investing in major projects, whether it's investing in affordable housing, whether it's investing in early learning and childcare so people can make the best wages possible. Our government is focused on one thing, and that's Canadian success. Canadians know that too, Mr. Speaker. They don't trust those guys to protect their interests. They don't trust those guys for the long-term thinking that results in better outcomes for their families and their children. That's why we're on this side of the House.
The Honourable Member for Mission Matsqui Abbotsford.
Speaker, I represent one of the most trade-exposed regions in Canada, and Canadian manufacturers are being crushed by the industrial carbon tax and rising inflation. From steel, aerospace, and auto parts to food processing, every step in the supply chain is costing more. Manufacturers can't compete when the cost of everything keeps rising and businesses are burdened with more and more red tape. Will the Prime Minister finally admit that his industrial carbon tax policy and red tape policies like the plastic registry are unnecessary burdens doing nothing to improve competitiveness or to protect the environment?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Of course, we'll be there to protect jobs, to create jobs and attract talent and investment. Right. And when it comes to creating jobs, particularly in the manufacturing sector, we're doing this through our new defence industrial strategy, which will be about buy, build and partner. And of course, we'll do that through major projects. Across the country, we've already announced 5 major projects worth $60 billion in private capital. We're coming up with the next step with new projects before Grey Cup. By the way, Grey Cup, November 16, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Mission Matsqui.
Mr. Speaker, if the Industry Minister had to be burdened with the paperwork and the bills that small businesses are facing today, she would act differently in this House. Take the food and beverage industry, for example. They run on razor-thin margins, and after 10 years of Liberal deficits, food inflation continues to rise, 4% this year. That's forcing restaurants to charge more and make less. Is this government willing to address any of the costs that small businesses are facing, or will it keep borrowing, spending, and driving inflation even higher while job creators are left paying the price?
The Honourable Minister for Women, Gender Equality, Tourism and Small Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our government understands the importance of Canadian industries, and that is why, Mr. Speaker, we introduced the Buy Canadian policy to strengthen supply chains and support small businesses with the opportunities to succeed right here in Canada. We're also supporting small businesses hard hit by the tariffs, expanding the Business Development Bank of Canada loans by up to $5 million, and launched the $5 billion Strategic Response Fund so that businesses can adopt and pivot during these challenging times. And Mr. Speaker, we're also reducing red tape, unlike what the member just said just now. Mr. Speaker, these measures are going to support Canadian industries, support Canadian workers, and support our small businesses. And Mr. Speaker, happy Small Business Week.
The Honourable Member for Carleton.
Of the RCMP. My former MP and the current leader of the Conservative Party recklessly criticized the RCMP. His caucus doesn't want to talk about it, and even a former Conservative minister stated how grossly imprecise his comments were. Can the Minister of Public Safety reiterate the importance of the RCMP's independence, which ensures the protection of all Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
I want to thank the member for Carleton for this very important question, Mr. Speaker. The Leader of the Opposition has made some irresponsible statements relating to the RCMP. As you're aware, Mr. Speaker, the RCMP play an integral role in the safety and security of Canadians. It's an independent organization that abides by the rule of law. For the Leader of the Opposition to impinge the integrity of the RCMP is beyond the seat that he holds, Mr. Speaker, and I demand that he unequivocally retract those statements and seek an apology from the RCMP, the men and women that serve this country, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Middlesex, London.
Speaker, Cami families are getting pink slips and the auto sector in Canada is hanging by a thread. The Liberal EV mandate is a bumper sticker, not a plan. A pipe dream that costs billions in taxpayer subsidies and all for nothing. Over 6,000 Canadian families' livelihoods are at stake right now as auto manufacturers move their businesses to the U.S. So will the Prime Minister tell unemployed auto workers why his failed policies that help send their jobs south?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Let me be clear, what is happening to the auto sector is actually linked to the American tariffs. When it comes to the EV mandates, the Minister of Environment, myself, of course, with the Prime Minister, we've been working with the industries to find solutions. And by the way, right now, they've been paused. So when it comes to the workers themselves, we will be there to support them. We will make sure that Stellantis is held to account. And meanwhile, we're working with GM to bring at the Ingersoll plant a new model, because obviously these workers need to be supported, and we will build One Canada strong.
The Honourable Member for Middlesex, London.
Mr. Speaker, that's just more talk from the Liberals that does nothing to help people. Cami workers in Ingersoll are worried about paying their mortgages and putting food on the tables. Right. After handing out billions in subsidies, Cami's indefinite layoffs, they come at the cost of the Liberals' failure to negotiate protections for workers. When Cami bleeds, so do part suppliers, tool and die makers, truckers, diners, and other small businesses across Middlesex, London, and southwestern Ontario. So will the Prime Minister look the auto workers in the eye and explain to them why he failed to protect their jobs?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Prime Minister is working with Doug Ford. I'm working with Vic Vitelli, and we're also working with Unifor to bring back a new model at Ingersoll. And we will make sure to put pressure on GM as they need to honor their contracts. And meanwhile, we will make sure that indeed the workers that we look in the eyes have confidence that we're fighting for their jobs.
The Honourable Member for Brampton West.
Mr. Speaker, Stellantis got $15 billion of taxpayer money. That's over $1,000 from every Canadian household. And what's the result? 3,000 Canadian workers are losing their job as production moves to the U.S. If that's the Liberal job protection, Canadians should be alarmed. Will the Prime Minister tell us exactly how many Canadian jobs are guaranteed in that $15 billion deal? Or did the Liberals just write a blank check to protect corporate profits, not Canadian workers?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Speaker, I understand the frustration on the part of my colleague who's from the region. That being said, I think we have to set facts extremely straight.
That's right.
Because obviously the support to the sector was linked to the fact that there would be production of batteries. As the production has only started, obviously $15 billion of federal taxpayers' money have not been invested. What is at stake, though, is that we negotiated very well the contracts to support the Brampton plant, and therefore the opposition, including the Conservatives, will have access to these contracts in committee, and they will see that we have the workers back.
The honourable member for Essex.
Mr. Speaker, the Finance Minister handed $10 billion to Stellantis to create 2,500 jobs in Windsor, but now they're threatening to ship 3,000 jobs from Brampton to the U.S. These Liberals have abandoned Canadian auto workers who don't know how they'll provide for their families and their futures. What job guarantees do the Liberals actually negotiate? And if there's nothing to hide, why won't they release the contracts outlining the specific details of the Canada-wide job guarantees?
Good question.
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-US trade. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Knows very well that we're working to support auto workers and the sector in Canada. There's over 100 years, Mr. Speaker, of proud history in making vehicles in Canada. That's a manufacturing sector that's important to every part of the country. That's why not only are we taking measures with the Government of Ontario and partners across the country, unions, to support the industry and those workers, we're also negotiating with the Americans so that we can get a deal that's in the interest of the long-term security of Canada's auto sector.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Akiawenrock. Mr. Speaker, for 60 years, PACCAR has been manufacturing cars in Saint-Thérèse de Blainville. Today, 300 workers learned that they would be losing their job. That is the sad reality of Liberal policies. They talk a lot, but they act little. These people were elected under a slogan of elbows up and a promise that all tariffs would be lifted. But what happened? 300 people lost their job. What will the Prime Minister actually do to convince Trump that these tariffs make no sense? And what will he say to these workers? The Honourable Minister of Industry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a lot of respect for my colleague, and I know the PACCAR plant very well. I actually visited it with the new member for Thérèse de Blainville recently. I spoke with the head of the plant lately. Bad news has gone out. We will not accept this. We will continue to fight to ensure that our workers in Saint-Thérèse are not only supported, because Saint-Thérèse is a Quebec manufacturing hub, but we will also work with the province of Quebec and municipalities throughout the country. We should be buying more trucks made here in Canada. The same can be said for buses. We will protect our jobs.
Member for Fort McMurray, Cold Lake.
Yesterday, the Auditor General delivered a scathing report on the state of childcare. Despite spending billions of dollars from this Liberal government, the childcare plan, their shortages of available childcare has gotten worse over the last 5 years. StatsCan showed the proportion of parents that use childcare and reported difficulty finding it rose from 36% in 2020 to nearly 50% in 2025. Wow. Only Liberals could spend more and get less. Will the Prime Minister admit that his childcare plan is yet another broken Liberal promise?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, it's the sort of height of irony that a Conservative MP who voted against childcare is now criticizing childcare that exists across this country. What the Auditor General said is that provinces and territories have to do a better job in terms of reporting. We're working with provinces and territories to make sure that we grow the number of spaces. But let me leave you with this, Mr. Speaker. $16.50 a day. That's the average price families are paying for childcare, and that's a huge savings for Canadian families.
The honourable member for Fort McMurray, Cold Lake.
Typical Liberals blame everyone but themselves. They committed to build 250,000 new childcare spaces in 5 years. 3 years in, less than half. Worse yet, they don't know how many spaces are going unused. They don't know how much unmet demand exists, all while using funky, inconsistent math. Provinces are warning that this $10 system could collapse when federal funding ends, with inflation and staffing shortages piling up. How can the Prime Minister justify blowing through billions with families waiting on waiting lists?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, again, I'm really heartened to hear about the support that that member has for early learning and childcare. It's a real switch, Mr. Speaker, given that you voted against it time and again. But I will say this, Mr. Speaker, I have a meeting with my counterpart this afternoon with the Minister from Alberta to talk about exactly that, how we take the next steps together, because as that member would know, jurisdiction over childcare lives in provinces and territories. We have funded this system to such an extent that, Mr. Speaker, the average family is paying $16.50 a day. What a savings for Canadian families.
The honourable member for Selkirk, Interlake, Eastman.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General concluded the Canadian Armed Forces did not recruit and train the members it needs to meet operational requirements. She further said that our forces will struggle to respond to threats, emergencies, and conflicts and accomplish their missions. The report also revealed that on this trajectory, 13% of occupations are at risk of never being fully slated, and another 69% won't get there for over 10 years. Our adversaries aren't waiting for Canada to get our house in order. How does the Defence Minister expect our armed forces to meet our international obligations and protect Canada without the personnel?
The Honourable Minister of Defence.
Mr. Speaker, we thank the Auditor General for her work. As we rebuild, rearm and reinvest in Canada's military, we're making changes to our recruitment processes to get more people in the door and faster. We've modernized our recruitment process by introducing a probationary period, streamlining the security clearance process, updating the aptitude test requirements, changing medical standards. We've also given our forces a very well-deserved pay increase. Mr. Speaker, recruitment has reached a 10-year high, but there's more to do.
The honourable member for Selkirk, Interlake, Eastman.
But he let 100,000 Canadians slip through his fingers. The Auditor General also reported yesterday the situation gets worse for our troops after they enlist. She said military housing is, and I quote, the kind of conditions you and I wouldn't want to live in, nor should we expect our troops to either. The National Defence Committee came to the same conclusions in the last Parliament. Nothing has changed, and the report confirmed the wait list for military housing is growing to over 7,000. How can the Defence Minister sleep at night knowing our troops are living rough and all he can do is re-announce old Liberal promises for 600 new housing units, but our troops need 7,000 now?
The Honourable Minister of Defence.
Mr. Speaker, I sleep very well at night because of the incredible women and men in the Canadian Armed Forces. That's who I count on. That's who I count on. We're rearming, Mr. Speaker. We're rebuilding and we're reinvesting in the Canadian Armed Forces. The member knows this. When it comes to CAF housing, we're looking at new solutions through private sector partnerships to give our forces a safe and affordable place to call home. Last week, for the first time in history, we acquired a brand new, privately developed 37-unit apartment complex located near CFP Esquimalt in 5 weeks, Mr. Speaker. This is just one of the ways we are accelerating processes to get our CAF members housing.
The Honourable Member for Madawaska-Restigouche. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week is the National Week to recognize early childhood educators in official language minority communities. These are professionals who help our little ones learn and grow. Early childhood is crucial to learn the French language and build a French-speaking identity. Could the minister talk about what our government is doing to support ECEs and boost this workforce so essential that drives our affordable childcare system nationwide? The Honourable Minister of Employment and Families. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank my colleague from Madawaska-Restigouche for highlighting the exceptional work of early childhood educators throughout the country. Our government has invested over $1 billion to hire, train, and retain more ECEs. We are working with provinces and territories to improve their wages and their training, because when we support early childhood educators, we also support families and the future of our economy. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Richmond-Arthabaska. Mr. Speaker, it's embarrassing. The Prime Minister talks about economic lessons when his public services and procurement minister could give lessons in corruption. After 10 years of Liberal government waste has gone up by 66%. The responses we are here getting today show that they understood nothing about balanced budgets. When will we get over to a period of proper economic management? The Honourable Minister responsible for national revenue. You know what's embarrassing? The official opposition leader who talks about jailing his political adversaries. The official opposition leader who is undermining the rule of law in the country. The official opposition leader denigrating the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And you know what else is embarrassing? The opposition leader is not only not apologizing, 100 of his members of parliament are refusing to denounce these completely inappropriate remarks. His predecessor in Richmond-Arthabaska would have some lessons to teach him. He should follow his example and call out his leader.
The honourable member.
This translator's not very good.
A business that fails to meet its service standards 95% of the time would go bankrupt. But under this Liberal government, that's the standard at the CRA. And what's their answer? Throw more money at the problem. Costs are up 70%, but still 8.6 million calls are being deflected, and 83% of the answers to individual tax questions are wrong. Even the CRA chatbot got questions wrong 2/3 of the time. It's hopeless. If this Liberal government can't even manage its own revenue agency, how can Canadians trust it to ever balance the budget?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Canadians deserve timely, reliable, and accurate service from the CRA. And that's why we thank the Auditor General for her report. Earlier this fall, we embarked upon a 100-day plan to strengthen service, improve access, and eliminate unacceptable delays. And we have good news. Since the launch of the plan, CRA call center service levels have more than doubled. 89% of Canadians getting an answer within 15 minutes. Wow. That is good news. This report will help the CRA build on significant service improvements it has made since September. It will also help guide our government to work as
the Honourable Member for Swift Current Grasslands Kindersley.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General report shows CRA had a huge increase in deflected calls from 1 million to 8 million in 1 year. Wow. People in the Southwest wait hours, sometimes days, to reach a service agent, and then they have to deal with huge delays in resolving their file, even if the CRA made the mistake. CRA fails to meet its own service standards after already lowering them, and the odds are high that the agents will give you inaccurate information. But their budget went up 70%. So why is that with these Liberals? Canadians always pay more, but get less.
The Honourable Secretary of State.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. The CRA is providing accurate information to Canadians in nearly all cases. The audit looked at a sample of 167 calls from last spring before we launched our 100-day plan to fix survey service. The CRA reviews over 100,000 calls every year for accuracy and has found that more than 93% are accurate for inquiries related to taxpayer files. We're focused on delivering service for Canadians. We will get this right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Winnipeg South.
Well, Mr. Speaker, cap paper is an integral part of Northern Ontario's economic security, supporting over 2,500 skilled local careers in the region. But a few weeks ago, the community was rocked by the news that cap paper would be shuttering its doors, devastating for the community and for workers and families throughout Northern Ontario. Can the Minister of Industry please tell this House how we are supporting cap paper and other industries and how our government is standing up for skilled careers and stronger communities?
Honourable Minister of Industry.
Merci. I would like to thank my honourable colleague for his hard work, and I would like also to thank the Minister for Jobs and also the Minister for Natural Resources, because we worked together to lay down the groundwork for cap paper to continue its operations in months ahead. Through the conversation we had with cap paper, one thing became clear: they're the heartbeat of casing and a vital part of the community. So that is why we came to the table with solutions. We were able to protect the jobs, 300 of them, and all the jobs around casing linked to the mill, 2,500 jobs as well.
Excellent. The honourable member for Kenora Kiwetinong.
After years of talk, this Prime Minister is breaking his promise to get shovels in the ground when it comes to the constantly delayed Ring of Fire in Northern Ontario, Mr. Speaker. Thousands of jobs and billions of dollars are on the line, yet the Liberals refuse to move this project ahead. The roadway won't even be built until 2028, and the Liberals ignored this project completely on their national priority list, a huge slap in the face to people across Northern Ontario. So, Mr. Speaker, will the Liberals stop with the delays, stop breaking their promise, and get shovels in the ground so that our region can get to work?
The honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Thunder Bay, Superior North, and the Minister of Jobs and Families. I agree with the member that the Ring of Fire is an extremely important deposit in Northern Ontario. We've been working with the province of Ontario for years to ensure that we have a plan to move forward, and we've been working with the affected First Nations in that riding, which is mine, and we'll continue to focus on the opportunity that the Ring of Fire presents for not just Northern Ontario, but all of Canada. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Rosemont-La Petite-Patrie. At Trudeau Airport, the New Rest Corporation had a meal contract with Air Canada. They knew that they would lose their contract, but they still brought over temporary foreign workers with closed work permits, 3-year work permits. A closed work permit is a terrible thing. It prevents people from changing employers. So now 50 people have gotten the rug completely pulled out from under them. They have no job and they aren't allowed to find a new one. Will the immigration minister listen to Labour leaders and provide a new open work permit so these people can find new jobs? The Honourable Minister of Immigration and Citizenship. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to address this situation. The Temporary Foreign Worker Program seeks to let Canadian employers hire foreign workers when there are no Canadians or permanent residents who are qualified to do the job. We will continuing to bring down the number of temporary foreign workers, and we will work with the member opposite. We are here to protect Canadians, but we are also here to protect employers and businesses who require foreign workers. Thank you. This concludes question period for today.
I'd like to inform the House that the volume of earpieces has now been reset.
What's that?
Okay.
Here's the link for committee. I've put it in the chat a few times. We've got a pretty good spicy committee after. We've got about an hour break before committee starts, and it's reviewing the Conflict of Interest Act. The Conservatives have been pushing for updates to it, especially with our Prime Minister Carney having 109 conflicts of interests. So we'll take a break.
If members
we'll call it here.
Could.
And we will tune into the next stream. As I put the link in chat a few times, there it is again. If you don't want to stay for committees with us, if you just want to catch question period, we do question periods every 2 p.m. Monday to Thursday, so we'll be live again tomorrow for question period. We do have a couple more committees tomorrow that are quite spicy in the morning and in the afternoon, so we'll have 3 live streams tomorrow. Yeah, we'll call it there, and I will see you guys in just a little over an hour. Got a little bit of a break. See you in about 10. It's at 4:30. Chris, it's at 4:30. Not 3:30 today. It's 4:30 today. So we've got a bit of a break. Anyway, there's the committee, and I will see you guys shortly. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And if you don't want to join us for committee, have a good rest of your day. Cheers, guys.